You're watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the November 1st meeting of the Long Beach Fire Commission. You can find more information for this meeting at www.accesslaportecounty.org.
So hopefully now you can see the agenda.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, so we'll start off with the capital expenditures. We'll talk a little bit about where we're at on the fire station project, and then we'll talk about the other two follow on to that. This is more informational for you because the other two here, I don't know if you can, I know the camera's not behaving real well. We have Kurt Ernst and Tanya and myself on scene.
Okay.
So the fire station project, we're in the throes of the design build proposal. We received one from Holiday Construction and one from JPR, which is a engineering / architectural firm. And they are using a contractor by the name of Brown & Brown, who's out in Wakarusa. You may be familiar with that. So we have two design build proposals in front of us, which helps us in some respects. We're a little disappointed that some of the local guys, Larson Danielson and Ton and Blank, did not submit, but at least we have two proposals. We met as a group, a working group with Doug Wickstrom in attendance to review those proposals. And the phase two, these are early, very, very rudimentary budgetary numbers, along with some qualification information, such as safety information, litigation information, financial statements, and that sort of thing. They both passed with flying colors. We did score both of those design build firms. They're very close in scoring for what's called the qualitative portion, not the quantitative. The quantitative will be the phase two, where we actually get some 30% drawings and some more succinct information from them about the project itself. So we did get some timeline information, some rudimentary plans, and lots of background on those companies. So our next move then is we just held a meeting today, and I'm sorry, didn't hold a meeting today. We finished up the last review yesterday, and we've now got an addendum that's going to go out with some more information for those contractors. On November 30th, they owe us the phase two submittal. At that point, the numbers will be tighter. We'll get more information from them. And then within a week from that, we owe them a choice of one of those contractors to follow through on the final engineering, final drawings. So the intent is at the capital working group meeting, which is the group that from the budget and finance guys, they're going to review the entire town's capital needs, is on December 5th. So we'll have some good tight numbers. Sender is working on the affordability and sources of funds for the project, much like he did before when we thought it was $1 million project. I did inform him that it's more going to be more like a $2.5 million project, and he's going to analyze it based on that information. So we'll have that before that capital meeting on December 5th. So the preliminary schedule still looks solid for a year-long project, roughly speaking, depending on the supply chain issues and some other issues. But basically, we hope to be able to have the capital program look at affordability, have the budget and finance a couple of days later, look at the affordability, and then bring a proposal to the town council on the regularly scheduled December council meeting. And then, either get a yay or nay, hopefully at that point, to keep moving forward. Again, the revised cost estimates look like one was about 2.2, the other was 2.5. They're telling us we got to count on about a 20% contingency over the top of those numbers because we're not in final design yet. Now that also could be reduced if we, pull in our ears a little bit on scope, but that's the rough neighborhood we're in, probably somewhere around 2.5 or so. We did add some, John Stone was talking about making it more of a community project. The police will have an entire bay to store 2 squads in, and we'll also have their wash bay included in our 4 bays that face the north. So the meeting room will also have, uses by the town. So essentially, we're going to be able to present it as not just the fire project, but also including some amenities. Please. Go ahead.
I'd say more of a public safety building, not just a fire station, because we put police and fire.
So I'm kind of running off the mouth there, Jan. So if you've got any questions on the fire station itself, let's talk about it.
Yeah, just real quick, I know everything costs more, but how did it jump from 1 million to 2.5 million?
That 1 million figure is probably almost 10 years old. We got another contractor involved and an architect involved about 10 years ago. We've been operating under the assumption that we could use the numbers that were in, square foot numbers in that era. And obviously we're significantly different. And also, rather than an addition, which is what we were originally talking about, we were going to keep the old building and add on. So it was a smaller project in that regard. When now we're including the police, we're knocking down that garage. I think the demolition is going to be cheaper than trying to do an addition anyway. But yeah, it's somewhat just the nature of the beast in this era that we're in, I guess.
Yeah, because we're going to be stuck with the same PR problem we did with the sewers when, it was put out it was going to be 7 million and went up to 12 million, and that was the end of that.
Right. Well, we haven't really released any numbers. I did send that 2.5 out to the whole town council on that last email we sent out.
Right, I saw that.
Yeah. So those guys have been front loaded, but I don't think the $1 million number was ever talked about beyond our little group here. So it comes back to affordability. I mean, hopefully, if you recall, the last time Senator looked at it, his intent was that we would pay interest for a little while until the short protection bill bonds were paid off, so that we would not have the taxpayers burdened with principal payments on both of those notes. Any other questions, John?
Not right now.
Okay. So the intent again would be at the December town council meeting to get some kind of a nod from the council to keep moving forward. Ideally, let's assume that the senator says, look, we're going to have to bond a portion of it. That's a 90-day process is what he told me today when I spoke with him. So we have to watch that in terms of schedule. If we get bids from these guys early or late November, and then do final engineering and final numbers in, let's say, January or February, then we're going to be in a position to want to probably anticipate a bond moving forward sometime, maybe December, January, then, so that we can get it. Even if we don't have the exact number yet, then we'd have to, the portion that we'd have to bond, we want to start that process relatively soon. So that December meeting will be kind of pivotal for us. All right, barring any other questions on the fire station, the next item of business was the fire truck. As you know, we purchased our little truck, our little replacement for the Suburban recently. But what we're talking about now is the actual fire engine purchase. And if you want, what's your pleasure, gentlemen? You want me to pull that?
Pull it up.
I'm going to stop sharing the agenda, John, and I'm going to share another item. This is similar to what we did on the other truck. It will be a there it is. Okay. Here it is. There it is.
There it is.
Yeah. Okay, John, so what we're going to do now is attempt to run this slide presentation. Kurt will address it for you.
Good one works.
Make sure you can hear the microphone.
Mr. Coker, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Very good. My voice even travels a long distance. All right, so I'm going to go up to where the first, there you go. Right now, we have, and we're looking to replace the 1991 Mack vehicle, which is 31 years old. And obviously goes without saying that there's been a lot of increases in safety that are required by fire apparatus that have happened in the last 31 years. Under what's called NFPA, which is the standard we follow as firefighters, after 15 years, the truck is generally considered to be what's called auxiliary in nature. And after 25 years, it's supposed to be taken out of service altogether. So obviously, this particular truck by NFPA standards should technically be completely out of service. Moreover, our newer truck, the one we're keeping, is already in the auxiliary range, and is probably more or less like 6 years away from also being in the category where they would suggest that it be taken out of service altogether. The reason we talk about that is that when you're looking at homeowners, one of the things that affects their homeowners insurance rates is something called an ISO rating. It's an independent organization that gives assessment of things like fire protection, which then directly affect insurance rates for homeowners in the area. When you're rating fire service, a 1 is the best you can do, a 10 means in essence no service. We're what's called an ISO 4, which is very high for voluntary. You get much higher than that unless you have elements of a full-time department. But obviously, if we have equipment that is considered to be non-compliant or aged or ancient, for lack of a better term, that can affect that rating, which directly then affects individual homeowners' property value, potentially is significant. The current issues we have with this vehicle that we're looking to replace is we've seen a lot of places where there has been severe corrosion, a lot of things were forged metal. About a year or so ago, we had replaced a nipple that was connected to the tank and part of the drain of the pump, and it was completely eaten through. There was nothing left on the threads at all. It was completely washing out. And we're starting to see those problems all over that truck with the valves, with the tank itself. And obviously, when you get to be a vehicle at this age, parts are more difficult to come by, more expensive. It's also a manual transmission, which obviously our younger generation are quite as adept as driving as a automatic transmission would be, at which the new vehicle would replace it. What we're looking to replace it with is a brand. It's called E1. That is a fire truck manufacturer. It's called a Typhoon. That's the thing. If you're buying a Chevrolet, that's the E1. If it's Impala, that's the make, which is the Typhoon. You see here it's got a 530-gallon tank. That's the actual amount of water it carries. Obviously, because Long Beach doesn't have a lot of areas outside the reach of hydrants, we don't need to carry a lot of water. That reduces cost, that reduces the weight of the vehicle, and also allows us to maximize more within a more compact structure, more storage space, which is pretty significant. And Mr. Coker, obviously, as you well know, Long Beach has some very unique terrain amongst the town of Long Beach. I mean, the roads aren't exactly the widest places. They're winding hills. We have a lot of low-hanging power lines and tree limbs. And what we're trying to do is find a truck that will fit those specific criteria. If you look at some of the pumpers that like Michigan City has, the more recent purchases, or that the town of Long Beach are actually the same manufacturer, the vehicles are physically much larger and are physically much taller. And we actually got to see that in the last structure car we had not that many months ago, where Michigan City, the tiny chief was standing next to me and marveling that a good share of their trucks might not have to make it into Long Beach because of the overlying limbs, the power lines, and the tight turns. So we were trying to find a truck that fits that niche. John and Tom and I went down to a conference this last year called FDIC. It's the largest firefighter convention in the world for firefighter apparatus. And this particular truck caught our eye because of this lower profile, more compact nature, but the fact that we do everything we wanted it to do, it will be fully compliant with current and hopefully soon be changed NFPA standards. To give you a comparison, the truck we're replacing, you have 2 seats in front, driver's side and passenger side, both completely enclosed. In 1991, when the vehicle was bought, there were 3 seats in the back, and you could actually sit in and haul firefighters. Now, obviously, it's not legal for you to transport people unless they're in a completely enclosed cab. So our present truck, which used to be able to legally carry 5 firefighters, can now legally only carry 2. the new vehicle we have to be able to carry forward, safely and within compliant standards. And so it's kind of with that mindset that we're proceeding this way. We also have an advance and there have been changes in the law in the last several years to make purchases like this more efficient, in that where before we had to submit bids and specifications and let people interested in bidding on the project and select the least expensive and most responsible bid. Nowadays, what they've allowed us to do with an agency that you pay a fee to, that's sanctioned by the state, you submit your specification to them, and they will certify whether or not it is submitted an appropriate municipal bid, and if you get that okay, you go through and you buy a truck. And that's critical, because right now, the wait time is anywhere from 18 to 24 months. So we're looking at, let's say today, the town council say, go ahead and buy it. We're looking at 2 years before we likely get it because of backlog on orders and supply chain issues, which are, of course, rampant in the auto manufacturing industry as a whole. So what we're looking to do here is to find something that fits our niche. We're keeping some things off of this truck that our other truck that we're keeping has, namely a generator, which is about a $50,000 item, and also what's called a cascade system where we can fill bottles. We kind of felt that we could probably get by with only one truck having those, so we are purposely not putting it on this truck to minimize the cost of the town and still be able to provide the service we need. Another thing that's critical too is the truck that we're replacing carries our larger ladder. That's what we call a two-ply ladder, which is about 36 feet in length. It's the only one of that size that we have. The other truck has a smaller ladder. And as you all know, Mr. Boger, that some of our buildings in this town are rather high up. And so for purposes of rescue, also for sending firefighters in battle fire, second or third story, we have to have a ladder at the length to make sure that we can get those people out safely. We have to make sure that the truck that we purchase to replace our present truck is large enough to be able to accommodate that.
Hey, Kurt.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, real quick. Do you have a picture of this truck? Because all I'm seeing is your email.
Yeah, I think I supplied something. Well, it's more of a schematic. Yes, there is. Once you actually place the order, they'll give you something a little bit fancy, but generally when they're in this part of the process, that's about all they're willing to give you. I assure you it will be ready to come. Correct. Additionally, you look at the length too, obviously, we're trying to be very cognizant of, again, not only the height and width of the truck, but also its length. The truck that we are hoping to replace is about 30 feet in overall length. This new truck will only be about less than 2 feet longer, but it would still be actually shorter than our truck that we're keeping. And again, that was part of the reason why we found this truck very appealing. And the only reason it's a little bit longer is on the front, you'll know the schematic, there's an elongated bumper. That's where they actually put one of the hose lines that we use very, very frequently in fire. And we want to make sure that we have that. And that's something that's pretty much standard add to a fire truck. So it's going to be about 1.5 to 2 feet longer than the truck we're replacing, but it should still be about 1.5 to 2 feet shorter than the truck we're keeping. So hopefully that will be able to keep, when we look at a station, keeping our bays not bigger than we need to, but also having something that can navigate the rather tight turns we have here. I do have a bid, I don't have it in written form, but right now, if we would purchase this truck today, you're looking at about $760,000. Now, that quote can go up as time goes on because cost overruns can go up every year, both with inflation, with supply chain issues, but as of now, that's the ballpark of what we're looking at for that truck aspect. And that is something that I and Tom Jens and John Wall have been working with this particular manufacturer, trying to get something we think works. This is not just some stock truck off of the factory. I also took the liberty of talking with my own father, who was a volunteer firefighter when I grew up. I'm third generation. He has spec'd out at least 3 or 4 of these type of vehicles over his lifetime. Even after he retired, they still reach out to him for advice on, how to, maybe what they should do in firefighting. So I've also reached out to him as well. And I've also talked to some of the other neighboring departments too about what kind of they're doing too, so we got an idea of what we're doing. And this truck is, I think, far less expensive than the neighboring departments are purchasing. And it's a lot smaller too. Just to give you an idea, Center Township, where I live, they're about to take delivery of a brand new pumper tanker, which I believe is gonna be about $100,000 more than this one. It's gonna be a lot physically larger. And they're replacing a 1998 pumper. And once they take delivery of that new truck, they're gonna go ahead and start buying another new fire truck right after. So we're seeing a lot of people in the area buying trucks.
So John, the other thing is, there's an outfit called Sourcewell, I think we talked about this. That's how we bought the street department hydro excavation equipment. The Sourcewell operation allows us to buy this thing at negotiated rates for the whole country, so that we don't necessarily have to go into a.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
Okay.
So that's kind of what we're looking to do on as to a proposal, and hopefully some along this is we're gonna be submitted to the town for consideration. Do you have any questions, sir?
I'd still like to see a picture of it, but that's okay.
I actually had a picture on my phone. It was emailed to me. Okay, it's similar to what we're looking at here. It's one we look at in Indianapolis. I can give those to John very quickly here.
I don't know why this thing just keeps showing you pictures of the posters in the corner of the room. I haven't figured this animal out
An empty chair.
yet. Yeah. My sister's a counselor, she used to tell me that's what you have to do, you talk to your chair. There's some kind of therapy about talking to your chair. How's your medical issue there, Mr. Coker?
Oh, just swell. Having a great time.
Oh,
It's coming along fine.
I'm gonna lose you here for a second while I try to figure out how to get the,
I'm sending you your other email, and I can't send you on that.
you can't send it to me, okay, that's fine. So you're sending it to my,
Your regular email.
okay, yeah, not there yet. We're working on it, Mr. Coker, hold your horses.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's okay. Don't hold up the meeting for that.
It's imminent, just we're, as soon as it shows up in my inbox, I'll be able to kick it out to you. What were you for Halloween, Mr. Coker?
Scrooge and a Grinch.
You know, there's a station from, comes out of Chicago, I forget what they're called, there's 93.9, they're playing Christmas music with it.
Oh, great. Ah,
I was admiring yesterday, and they already have the wrapping paper out.
Still don't have it, Mr. Coker.
It's different.
Well, pictures sometimes take a minute or so.
Right.
well, Tree Time's already playing their jingle on WGN. They were playing that last week.
Wow. I'm sure the retailers are a little nervous with the current economic situation.
There's still a lot of money out there waiting to be spent, but
They showed a graph in the Wall Street the other day about, I'm gonna use the wrong term here, but disposable cash, so to speak, cash above normal amounts in different quintiles, so like poor people, middle class, upper class. They said even the poor schmoes have more cash than they typically do, just, I guess, because of all the outlays the last couple of years from the feds. I don't know, Mr. Kirk.
I sent it 2002 lbgmail.com.
Yeah, John Wall, 2022.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hasn't shown up yet, but I'm assuming it's going to. Well, we can get you a brochure. I think we have some brochures.
yeah, that's okay. Let's don't spend any more time on
There you go.
Okay, well, if it shows up, I'll bounce it up to you.
it. Okay.
The next item was, we have a couple things we wanted to bring to your attention, or the group's attention. There will be another expenditure, which the council authorized 10,000, if you recall, for the lighting on that new rescue vehicle.
15,000.
Well, it was 10 is what they authorized. But we have to see, so we're pricing that up right now as we speak. Hopefully maybe by the November meeting, we'll have some definitive numbers so we can get an actual number into the council. But we're working on getting the lights and the sirens and the radios and all that stuff transferred to the new truck. Rather than going to the 2 and 3, I'm gonna stick a new item in here, I'm gonna jump on you. We have to dispose of, we went to the new, when we got our new grant, that $150,000 grant for the new FPGA units. We have the old units that we have to dispose of. So there's a compressor, which we replaced with the new unit because it had to be a higher cubic feet per minute. And then we also had the old SCBA units, which have only got 5 years of life left in them anyway. The bottoms, the actual SCBA units were out of date anyway. So really the SCBA, and the part of the problem with disposal of town equipment is, by rights, it's town owned. So we have to be frugal with how we dispose of it, much the same as, so the Suburban will go the route that the squad cars do. We'll put out bids and everybody gets a chance to throw a number at it, and then whoever the high bidder is winds up with the Suburban. The compressor is a little bit different animal. There really is not a market for that per se. But we've been told by the people that sell those units that there's about a $1,400 residual value for that compressor. So we'd like to just sell it to them. The other option is the Michigan City dive team would take possession of it if we so choose. That would be a donation. We wouldn't get the cash in it. So that's a decision that the council has to make.
John, if I may just kind of clarify, when we're talking about the compressor, again, that's the old compressor that the town paid for, was not paid for by grant funds. With it, if we were to get this entity that I talked to, it would be the compressor and the 7 ground bottles, which are very large yellow bottles. Total would be no more than a max of $1,700 total for everything. That's the best case scenario. That's assuming you want to make a trip down here and pick it up. And he would probably refurbish it and use it for scuba tanks. So they still use that lower pressure tank. And for fire service, no one wants those anymore. Matter of fact, the harnesses wouldn't get rid of it. You try to get rid of them, but the departments didn't want them.
So I don't know if that rises to the level of a council decision or not, John, but we just want to make sure you're aware, and then we'll bring it up at the meeting.
Right.
That's all I had other than call review. I don't know if we have that information right now for the coming month. Our next meeting is not August 2nd, believe it or not. It's December.
Next town board meeting?
Well, our next fire commission meeting would be December 6th. So unless anybody has any other business to attend to, we can call it quits. Anything else you want to talk about, Mr. Fulker?
Yeah, just a real quick question. Just, I noticed the fire department, they're always asking for donations and this. What happens to all that money that the town, I assume everybody donates money to the fire department, or a lot of people do. Where does all that money go to? What's it for?
So we keep 2 counts. We keep an account to accumulate those dollars, and we keep an account to accumulate the funds that come in on the contract from the town. Believe it or not, I just talked to Ellen this week. Blake Gattergate, who's our treasurer currently for the fire department, is meeting with Ellen because when we set up that contract about, 15 years ago or something, originally we set up a lump sum contract with the town. It's always been a little fluid as to what gets paid out of what account. So bills will come in, like for instance,
Maintenance on trucks.
maintenance on the trucks. Sometimes we pay it out of our own funds, which comes from the fundraising, and sometimes the town picks it up. We try not to hit the town up for anything unless it's kind of substantive and definitely equipment related. So we basically spend our fundraising dollars much similar to the way we spend our town dollars. But when it comes, like, say for instance, when the HVAC unit in the fire station went kaput, the town picked that up directly. What's another one that the town picked up? Well, yeah, when the SCBA compressor came in, The town picked that up directly. We did not pay for that out of our fundraising dollars. So it's a little bit muddy, but what's going on now is, Blake is sitting with Helen, and then they're gonna come up with a methodology to be able to say which account pays for what thing. Generally speaking, the town picks up equipment-related stuff, and then our funds are more for, everything from training materials to, additional equipment. There's little things that we buy that the town hasn't bought, things like the thermal imaging cameras, new helmets, gear. If we don't get it under the rings, new pagers, new radios, that kind of stuff.
This is about $750, this is full day right here. We'll pay it.
It just, I don't know if that makes it any clearer for you,
Well, yeah, but it's the old story. You don't know. You send money in. It'd be nice if you even got a thank you back for it. You know what I mean? Or a pencil or something.
good point.
Well, same thing with the Civic. You donate money to the fireworks, and they don't even. You might get. I don't know. That's just something kind of bugs me a little bit, but nothing major.
Once Blake and Helen get a little firmer grasp on, the methodology between the two accounts as far as expenditures go, maybe we can, get a little more information out to the public, so to speak. We do file those, there's reports that we have to file from a tax standpoint I think it's with the state, for expenditures and income and that sort of thing. And there's nomenclature for that, but I can't remember what exactly it's called, but it's similar to like a 501c3 sort of thing. You have to report, file all your income and expenditures, and we do that on all the accounts. So there's public information available as far as what came in, what went out.
Probably be better if the fire department put that out rather than searching it out on the internet for the public, but it's all PR, folks, PR.
Yeah, it is indeed. And just one of the things, part of my more comprehensive presentation of the truck is one thing we've been doing the last couple of years with money that we take in fundraising, we've been buying things for our older truck, we can then transition to the new truck. So if we get it, we're not having to rush to buy all brand new stuff to put on right away. We're kind of doing that incremental over the last several years, building toward that. Things like hoses, nozzles, back, things of that nature.
We bought some site lighting equipment this year, like new LED site lighting equipment, meaning, big lights that can light up the sites. We actually retrofitted the old trucks with some new LED lights. I'm trying to think what else. We bought a demolition saw, what's called a partner saw, I guess, in standard nomenclature, but yeah, it's a demolition unit for cutting holes and roofs and that kind of thing. Are you kind of leaning toward we ought to have some sort of a list together of stuff we bought with those funds?
No, I'm just saying, the public ought to know what you guys are doing because it's a mystery. I don't know. See the fire truck go by, and I didn't know you bought a bunch of lights. That'd be something that'd be positive for the community to know that, look what we're doing to modernize the place. It's all perception and public relations and communication and all that stuff. John, you know when this thing gets rolling, there's going to be certain people that's not going to be happy, and
Well, I think you make a good point, Ken. We could certainly, make a list of stuff we purchased out of those funds.
I just had a little newsletter and say, hey, this is what we've been doing here this last year, just so everybody knows.
I think that's a good idea.
It's just a suggestion,
I think it's a good idea. Anybody else have anything new? Any additions, corrections?
No, sir.
All right, Mr. K, that's all I have.
Can I move we adjourn?
Remotely, I don't know. I'll have to check with my attorney and find out whether we can do that remotely.
Yeah, well, that's right.
All right, thanks for attending.
Take it easy. See you guys later.
Bye.